Hi, I'm Yvonne Plummer, and my documentary is about the words queer, fag, homosexual, and gay, and how people use them, how they are used in society, and how other people may feel about them, mainly at my school, Pace University. Okay. What is your age?
19 years old.
Describe a homosexual.
They're just like anybody else. They just happen to like for people of the opposite sex.
How do you feel about the LGBTQ community?
I think it should be supported, and I think people should learn to accept the fact that not everybody is exactly how you appear as you want them to be.
When you hear the words queer, homosexual, gay, and fag, how do you feel?
I think that if they're used in derogatory ways, that it's just inaccurate and it shouldn't be used. And I feel bad for those who get bullied in those instances with those words.
How would you respond if a peer or friend was bullied with the words queer or fag?
I get very defensive. It's happened before.
Okay, describe a fag.
It's a bundle of sticks, actually.
I think you're the first person to ever say that.
That's the actual definition of faggot, is a bundle of sticks.
That's actually really well. Do you believe that such words as fag or dyke should be banned?
Yes.
Why do you think people use these words?
Because they're uncomfortable, maybe. Maybe because they just don't. No, I don't know. I really don't know, because they're ignorant, honestly.
Describe a dyke.
I don't know. Just, in the terms that we know it as, is somebody who is a more masculine-looking lesbian, but I don't think it really matters what you look like.
Okay, so the term queer has more than one definition. Some of the definitions for queer are questionable, counterfeit, and differing in some ways, odd ways from what is norm. Which definition do you best think explains the gay person?
I don't think it should be defined. You like who you like, and it doesn't matter. It's whatever. It's not something we don't have to have labels on everything.
Okay. And the last question. Reclamation is the act of getting back something that was lost or taken. The words queer and gay and fag have been reclaimed by the LGBTQIA community. Do you believe that the words have been properly reclaimed?
No.
It hasn't?
I'm not that I've noticed.
Okay. Thank you for your time. You're welcome. Hi, I'm Yvonne and I'm 18. A homosexual is someone who loves someone of their same gender. They may wish to start a family with them or have a long-lasting relationship. I am in love with the LGBTQ community. I have been for quite a while, in all truth. They help so many people in so many different ways, and they're open and accepting to anyone who needs their help, like no matter what, and it's always been like this. They're a family from no matter what part of the country you are. You're family, you're a part of their family. And that's what I think of the LGBT community. When I hear the words queer, homosexual, gay, and fag, I get a little upset because of the origination of each term and how they have come around to be used in a supposed negative light that ended up becoming positive for so many people. If a friend of mine was bullied with the words queer or fag, I think I would start a fight because what it matters who the word came from. Because if it was from a friend, even then they would know it's unacceptable. But it was from a homophobic person who didn't understand the reason why we all love each other or love someone of our own race or just love in general, then I would probably start a fight. A fag is not a nice term. It supposedly explains what a gay man is. It's a derogatory term. And it will always be like that. When I described what a fag was, I believed I had like that because of everything I've heard during this documentary from people inside and outside who are in this documentary and not. The words that I've learned and who I've learned it from. I believe the words such as fag and dyke should be banned because there are ugly, ugly terms. And it's very ununderstandable about how someone could say such a word to anyone and mean it. It's like saying the B word to your mother. It's horrible, it's mean, and it's disgusting. I think that people use these words because they can't describe anything else. They don't know how to explain something that they don't know or they don't understand, and it makes it harder for everybody else in this picture. A dyke is technically a lesbian with a more masculine feeling about themselves. It's a term used to underpower the wonderful. Reclamation is a process, and it will always be a process in each and every community because it means something so. It's taking something that hurt so many people in their lifetime and reusing it to empower yourself. And people have been doing this with the words queer, fag, maybe bitch, or the N word, and a lot of any other terms. But people actually have been doing this in a positive light, and I believe it is working. A queer person is a gay person. It's a person who expresses themselves openly and happily. And that's what I believe a queer is. What is your age?
19.
Describe a homosexual.
Someone who can like the same gender, the same gender as themselves, or yeah.
How do you feel about the LGBTQ community?
I think they're just like regular people, like the same as us. Like there's no difference. It's just that they like different people, but you know, it's their choice.
When you hear the words queer, homosexual, gay, and fag, how do you feel?
Not really anything. It's their choice of life. I'm not gonna complain about it.
How would you respond if a peer or a friend was bullied with the words queer or fag?
Like really bullied?
Like bullied.
As in if they were actually like
Being bullied, like if, let's say for instance, your friend was being tormented by a group of people, and they were kept on repeating the words like you're a fag, you're disgusting, like you're an idiot, you're a fag, you're queer, you're not supposed to be on the earth, you're bad from God, stuff like that.
I would go to those bullies and speak with them, or like, you know, I would have a word with them.
Okay, describe a fag.
Describe a fag? To be honest, I wouldn't really know how to describe a fag, because like I said, I think everyone's the same.
Why do you believe that people use words such as fag or dyke?
Because I feel like people just want to degrade other people for not thinking the same way as them.
Describe a dyke.
To be honest, I really have no idea.
Okay, so technically a dyke is a male, more masculine lesbian, but it's also technically a derogatory term to explain them.
So basically like the boyfriend in the lesbian relationship?
Yeah, sort of.
I think it's cool if they want to be like that.
The term queer means questionable, counterfeit, and differing in some odd ways from what is norm. Do you believe that this is what should be used to describe a gay person?
No.
Reclamation is the act of getting back something that was lost or taken. The LGBTQ community had recently tried to reclaim these words. Do you believe that they have the terms queer and fag, like to be used in a more positive light?
Well, if the meaning were to be positive, then I guess, yes, they could use those words. But if it was, used as in a derogatory way, then, there's no point. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Yvonne Plumber, and I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions. What's your name and age?
Nick Catalano, I'm 74.
Describe a homosexual.
Describe a homosexual? A person who prefers to have sex with their own sexes as opposed to other ones, although not necessarily. There's a whole gamut of sexual interests. There are people who have bisexuality, homosexuality, heterosexuality. It's very relative. And basically that's been the way of nature since creation.
How do you feel about the LGBTQ community?
Which is,
Lesbians, gay, bisexuals, transgendered, and questioning.
I'm very, very thrilled that in the United States there's been a huge expansion of rights for people of different sexual persuasions. This really hasn't happened in the world in many other countries and so on, and the United States has been taking a leadership role in this. I think it's really, really terrific, and it's one of the great barometers of a real democracy.
When you hear the words queer, homosexual, gay, and fag, how do you feel?
Well, some of them, I guess, are okay, the ones you mentioned. Some of them are disparaging, just like there are disparaging comments about people's race or ethnicity. Tonality is very important, but there's nothing queer about people who have sexual relativity, so that word is a pejorative word.
Okay. How would you respond to a friend being called one of these words?
How would I respond to a friend being called one of these words?
Queer, homosexual, gay, or fag.
I wouldn't respond to somebody being called homosexual because I don't think that's pejorative, but fag or queer is pretty clearly pejorative. You have to wait.
Describe a fag.
Again, it's a pejorative term that's used to describe somebody who has different sexual proclivities. It's not a very nice term.
Why do you believe that you would respond in such a manner in describing what a fag is?
Why do I believe I would?
In your explanation, why did you choose that explanation rather than such things as a negative view?
I said the same thing, basically.
Do you believe that such words such as fag or dick should be banned?
No. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech. You can't ban language. Those pejorative words are going to take place, just like somebody being called a wop or a nigger or anything like that. It's the same problem.
Why do you think these words are used?
They basically reflect emotional prejudices and or carelessness and unthinkingness on the part of the people who use them. That's been going on for a long time.
Describe a dyke.
A pejorative term used to describe people who have lesbian tendencies, but I wouldn't give it the respectability of a definition because it's a terrible term.
The term fag was originally faggot and resonated in 1914 and means a male homosexual. And the term queer has more than one definition. Some of the definitions for queer are questionable, counterfeit, and differing in some odd ways from what is the norm. Which definition best help explain a gay person?
A definition, I'm not going to try to define it precisely and so on, but a gay person today, and that's a pretty helpful term. A gay person today is a person who has certain sexual proclivities, very often homosexual tendencies, or lesbian preferences. Incidentally, fag at one time meant cigarette also.
Yeah. Let's answer my last question. Reclamation is the act of getting something that was lost or taken.
Reclamation? Go ahead.
The words queer, gay, and fag have been reclaimed by the LGBTQIA community. Do you believe that the words have been properly reclaimed?
Well, again, as I said before, many of those words are pejorative, negative terms that are prejudicial and not helpful at all. I think it's good that officialdom, so to speak, has involved themselves in reclamation. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That's it?
Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
Okay, so time is on appointment, and I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions.
Go ahead.
What's your age?
I'm 19.
Define what a homosexual is.
Someone who likes the same sex as they are.
How do you feel about the LGBT community?
Well, they're there. And they're doing their thing.
When you hear the words queer, homosexual, gay, and fag, how do you feel?
Well, they technically all mean the same thing, but one's has the intent of causing offense, while the others are usually just labels.
How would you respond if someone had said this to one of your friends?
Well, I mean, it depends on how they take it. I mean, if they're okay with being called that, then there's not much I can do.
Describe a fag.
Someone who is overtly gay and pretty much just kind of like flaunts their sexuality and shoves it down people's throats.
Why do you believe that you responded in such a manner?
In what manner?
In describing what a fag is.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like how I was taught. Like, I grew up sort of around that. I know that I had a family relative who just kind of like described someone who flaunts their sexuality as someone that's just a fag.
Do you believe that words such as fag or dyke should be banned?
No. You're really gonna ban a word?
Why do you think these words are used?
Kind of like the same way, curse words are used. They just have that oomph. So they just, like, express anger or hatred or just, yeah.
Describe a dyke.
A lesbian?
The term fag was originally faggot and originated in 1914. It means a male homosexual. The term queer has more than one definition. Some of the definitions are questionable, counterfeit, differing in some odd ways from what is norm, and not quite well.
Right.
Which definition best helps explain a gay person?
Probably just a gay person or a homosexual. I mean... Oh. Then I guess probably queer. If I had to choose between fag or queer, it would probably just be queer.
And which definition in queer do you believe best describes the gay person?
Differing in some odd ways from what is the norm.
Describe a queer person.
Probably just someone who doesn't act normally, who, doesn't act normally as set by, like, standard social norms. Like, a queer person would probably just be, like, a guy who, like, I don't know, when he gets, like, chicken tenders and french fries, and he eats only his french fries first and then eats his chicken tenders, that's kind of queer. Like, it's a little strange. Like, it's kind of out of place. But then, like, for the social norms that we have now, a queer person would probably be somebody who has questionable behavior. Like, just kind of like, a guy that's just too playful, or a guy that's just too loud, or something like that. Or just too friendly.
Reclamation is the act of getting back something that was lost or taken. The words queer and gay have been reclaimed by the LGBTQIA community. Do you believe that it has been properly reclaimed?
It was reclaimed?
Yes.
That's what, like, I didn't even...
Queer used to
Okay.
be considered a bad word. Like, the definition is saying counterfeit or questionable. And to use that toward the person of the homosexual community, it was used in a negative manner. And they've retaken that
to a positive light? Do you think it's been reclaimed in a positive light from what it was previously?
Well, currently, I am not even aware that they have done that, so I don't think that I don't think they've really made a huge effect on reclaiming these words. So I don't think they did anything.
Okay, thank you. I looked at this documentary. I came to realize one thing. Everybody has a belief, an opinion, on whether they wish to state it openly or when asked. It will come out. The one thing that I did realize is that these words all mean the same thing, whether they're used positively or negatively. But most of them have been retaken back by the LGBTQIA community to be used in a positive light about how they feel about themselves. These words, some of them did not come meaning gay, and some did. But they've all been used in a negative light, which has been returned to a positive light. And I believe it's beautiful.